Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back. Happy hump day. Want to let everyone know I appreciate you for jumping on the live stream yesterday. I needed to do a drip video and I just wasn't feeling super motivated after the Yield robot rug. So I decided to make it easy on myself and invite Driptopian on. So if you haven't watched that live, just a good, you know how we are, we just rattle on forever. So it's a good 2-hour segment where we talk about several projects in the DeFi space and then of course a lot about Forex projects. So check that out if you like those topics. I know you do, because otherwise you wouldn't be here. But in today's video, I just want to do a good once over some of the projects I'm in and talk about some of the challenges we're going through and what we're looking forward to through the end of the month of January. Couple of side notes before I get started. 1, if you like this content and you're not subscribed, please subscribe. 2, I need to do a video later on Droplet, which is DeFi Proof's collaboration. I think 20% of the profits that come into that project go back to the drip tax vault. So it is beneficial. Today is the launch date, so I'll do a video about that later. And 3, I got a good buddy who's in Drip. He's in Furio, he's in Debtbox, he's in a few different DeFi projects. He is probably the most successful nutritionist in Utah. So his forte is in fitness and nutrition. He's a wealth of knowledge. He's been having me set up his YouTube channel so he can share some of his fitness knowledge with the world. But he's an amazing resource for fitness, business, DeFi, all that stuff. So I was thinking about having him on the channel. I know it's kind of a cross promotion, but a lot of you guys, when I posted my little shorts or talked about fitness, are like, hey man, I didn't know you were into fitness. You should share more of that content. So if you're one of those people, let me know. I might have him on the channel. We could just talk about all that stuff. Anyway, kind of random. I was just over at his house last night helping him get some stuff set up and the topic came up, so I figured I'd run it by you guys. Anyway, let's start with the bad news. Yield robot rugged, very likely rugged. Here's the message from one of the main guys. He says, "Dear friends, I'm sorry to say that we are experiencing unprecedented difficulties. The hacker who attacked us before found a loophole in our contract and used him to transfer all the TVL. I'm trying to communicate with him and tell him that we are willing to pay him to return the funds that belong to our users and you. I'm sorry, please give me some time. The community needs to keep quiet for now. We will have an accurate answer soon. Please give me time to talk to the hacker. All conversations will be made public to let you know the difficulties our team is experiencing and let you know that Yield Robot is not a rug." Then he goes on to say, "I want you to know that I'm willing to take responsibility for all your money. Within 48 hours, I will make public my conversation with the hacker, and if he refuses my request, I will use my personal funds to pay for the losses of all users, and I will keep my word." So that's $2.1 million that was stolen from the contract and transferred out. So if he has that amount or something close to that, not including the rewards, to pay people back and get them to a break-even point, that would be fantastic. But let's be realistic here. This is DeFi. This isn't likely. And even in some of the other projects that we've seen, you've had similar answers to this, where the dev or the team said, hey, we're going to refund you or whatever, and then it didn't happen. So I'm not holding my breath here. I am frustrated. I was pretty frustrated yesterday and last night. I don't like it when the people in my community lose money. But I woke up today and just realized, we are gambling with these DeFi projects. We're not only gambling with the projects. We know that a lot of them have Ponzi-nomics, so it's first in, first out. You're really looking to ROI quickly, and then everything on top of that is just a bonus. We're gambling on the contracts being good, and then we're also gambling on the fact that there's going to be honest devs. So there's certainly plays where you've got, 1 or 2 of those boxes checked where you're sure we got an honest dev, like with Forex, where you're sure the code's good or whatever. But all this stuff in DeFi is a risk. So everyone needs to take that into account before they make deposits into any protocol. So I'm frustrated, lost out on, I think, about $1,000. Part of that's my fault. I put in an extra 500 because I wanted to boost my daily rewards, and I really thought I was going to make it another 9 days, which was my break-even point. I was going to be able to pull my initial after another 9 days, but we didn't get there. We lost out, and it was like a trip to Vegas that was not successful. So I'm frustrated. What I have to say about the hack is that in my eyes, there's 2 scenarios. So what it looks like what actually happened is they utilized one of these coupons to create themselves basically an unlimited coupon and then pull all the funds out of the contract. So to me, no matter what, 1 of 2 scenarios happened. Either they were working this rug the whole time, and by that I mean the whole team, or 1 or more members of the team built this backdoor and were planning it the whole time. So in my eyes, this is an inside job one way or another. Maybe Manish wasn't involved, and he is really frustrated because he's, the face of the project or whatever. But someone on his team definitely was. They created this backdoor, then they exploited it. So if it wasn't rugged by him technically, it was definitely rugged by another team member. So that's my answer on that from the team, or from the way it was explained. And especially he says, he's talking to the hacker. If he really is talking to the hacker, he knows who it is. Most of the time, if I were to hack something and move a bunch of money, all you'd have is my wallet address. You wouldn't have a way to contact me. So if he's in contact with a hacker, I'm quite sure it's someone on his team. And that's just the BS we have to deal with. That's the dark side of DeFi. So sorry for everyone who lost money in that one. It is frustrating. For most of us, that is not the first rug pull we've gone through. For a lot of us, that's the 10th or 20th over the last couple of years. But they don't get any easier. They're still really frustrating. But just to reiterate this point, if you're going to get into some of these riskier plays, just know that it is a true gamble and there's a lot of risk there. If you're just starting out in DeFi, I would stick to projects where the developers and the main team have an extremely proven track record. And even then, there's a ton of risk, but you can at least feel more confident that when you wake up, there's going to be no 404 errors. It's not going to get rugged. So if I was going to give you non-financial advice, I would say invest in those projects that have a much better track record. And then if your risk or appetite is higher and you're willing to gamble on stuff like this, then you can do it, but know what you're getting into. So I didn't delete my videos on Yield Robot. We're likely not going to see that the funds paid back, but it'd be nice if we at least saw some of it come back. But I did hide them from public view. I don't want anyone clicking on the links and actually getting into Yield Robot thinking that it's still running. So just being transparent. Yes, I made a couple videos on it. No, they're not visible anymore because I don't want anyone seeing them and actually jumping into them. Somebody said either in the live stream yesterday or in my private chat, and I think it was Kerm, but he was talking about how he actually appreciates these miner contracts like baked beans, right? Because they're not crazy. They're very simple. There's no like back end money resource that you're depending on. You're depending on the trading and everything just to make the protocol run. Now, I know baked beans potentially has an element of that they could add some funds to it, but the core contract, of course, can run by itself. And even though the whole structure of miners is like Ponzi-nomics, it's just nice to know exactly what you're getting. And so if you can get, dev who standardly makes good contracts and is an honest dev, they throw up a miner, you can get in early, you're usually going to ROI, and then eventually down the road, the project's probably going to fail. And we know that these aren't long-term projects. There's no ecosystem. There's no reason to keep going back into the project if it looks like the project's dying. So they're very straightforward, and they can end up making you a good amount of money. Again, they are a gamble play, and I will always say, if you're going to roll the dice on this stuff, try to get in early. Try to get in at least in that first month. If you've got a project like this, which I think they just announced that they started some Facebook ads, so they're going to be running people here. If you get a project like this that has good marketing and a good dev behind the space, I mean, this has the contract balance right now is 4,633 BNB, which I think is like $1.5 million. So that's a pretty good amount of traction so far. And if you bring a bunch of people in from outside ads, like Facebook ads or whatever, we could see this thing maybe double. So that would be amazing. It'll be amazing to ROI. I've got a pretty good strategy here that I'm going to tell you about soon. I'll probably make it its own video. But no, these things will not last forever. There's no ecosystem built here. These miners are really straightforward. And to be honest, I respect that. So this, of course, is baked beans. Right now, it's going really well for me. Let's jump over. Shout out to Grinch because he made truly a better UI. As you can see, I'm down to a 20% tax rate. So I've got about 2 days left of accumulation before I can claim. And that claim should put me just above the break-even point. I plan on just continuing to reinvest so I can increase my max payout. But if you guys haven't checked it out, beansfi.netnify.app, and I'll try to post the link in the description below because I like this UI a lot. Gives me a lot more detail, specifically what my current tax rate is at. Once that goes to 0, then I know that's my claim window. So moving on, let's hit all the degen plays first, then we'll go to Forex projects. Next up, Dollar Beans, course, baked beans fork. Going well, total balance 1808. With both of these, I'm kind of running a strategy right now where I'm compounding 4 to 5 days, probably 5 days, and then letting it accumulate for 5 days so I can take my claim. And I'll just continue to do the same thing. I'll compound for the first 5 days, build my balance up, and so that just increases the speed at which I'm earning. Then I'll let it build up for 5 days, and I will claim. So Dollar Beans still looking really good too, and this one's now up to a little over 280,000 BUSD, which is nice. Mischief of Fortune, I made my first claim yesterday. So every 15 days is when you can take action. So I made my first claim. As you can see here, it was about $100. I like even numbers, so I basically split it in half and redeposited another 50. That's what they're saying you should do to increase longevity, and I'm perfectly fine with that. As you can see here, it made myself another stake for the $50 that I deposited here, and I'm just accumulating, so I'm making like $8 a day, something like that. So far, Mischief of Fortune is super solid, and we wouldn't expect anything less. The team's awesome. Everyone likes Fortune Hunters projects. Craig and Richie are great guys, so I don't see this protocol having any potential issues. I don't know if it's going to be a crazy big money one for me, but I'm just going to keep doing my weekly or my bi-weekly claim. Once I've claimed, I'm going to take that deposit, cut it in half, and put it back into the system. So what it looks like now is about every 2 weeks, I'll put in another 50. I'll keep 50 for myself, and then we'll see where it maps out. I'm tracking all this stuff so I can see how close I am to ROI. And I recommend you do the same if you're in a bunch of degen plays, because it's just hard to remember all this stuff. Next up is cat. You guys saw me get into this the other day. My buddy suggested it. I just think it looks cool. I was originally trying to figure out a claim strategy for me, and I was thinking I was gonna, compound claim a few times a week. I'm gonna switch it up just a little bit, I think. And this is a total gamble play. Like, listen, I don't know how long this will last. The outfit, like I said, is really big. There's like 1,000 people on their team. They've been on NASDAQ TV. They've got articles and stuff like that out. So it seems like a legit team. And it seems like the crypto arbitrage that they're doing in the BRICS nations is actually really solid, but you never know. I mean, we all thought SBF was legitimate until 2 months ago. So I say that to say this, gamble play for me. I'm gonna keep compounding this thing for at least the next 30 days, maybe 60 days, and just see how high I can build this thing up. So I put in 2 BNB. Every 24 hours, you're allowed to reinvest that, or you can take it out. I'm willing to roll the dice and burn that $600. It may be making 5,000 or 10,000 or 15,000. So I'm okay with that. This is me gambling the money, seeing if I can get a big return. In this case in particular, I'm not going to ROI fast like I do with most of my other plays. And you don't need to follow this as financial advice. This is just my strategy on this one in particular play. I'm going to build it up until I feel like I have a nice sum there, and then I will start pulling. If something happens with this project, it dies, or the rug gets pulled, I am willing to let my $600 go. So again, that's just me. I can't say it enough. DeFi projects are risky. Luckily, I follow my own advice. I put risk capital in. If I lose this money, it will not change my quality of life one bit. I jump into some of these projects for multiple reasons. A, I hope I make money from it. B, it's entertaining for me. 3, it's education. I like trying out new projects. I get to learn about them. I get to learn about the devs. I learn which ones are honest. For me, it's a great education exercise. And 4, I get to make some content on it. So you guys can see the processes I'm going through. And I know a lot of you guys watch my channel that aren't even in these projects, but you can kind of learn with me. And when I get rug pulled, you get to have that experience, go through it with me, feel the pain, but not feel the financial pain. So anyway, this is my journey. It's never financial advice, just trying to be open and honest and transparent with you. So here's basically how it works, and here's how I came to my decision. Right now, I'm making 0.003 BNB daily, so not a lot. So I could continue to just pull those profits every day. Come on, scroll up. Or, I can run it up here. So I've got 2 BNB in there. Let's just say I let it run for 30 days. And right now I've got this button on that just says if I reinvest it every day. So if I just keep compounding every day, after 30 days, I can turn it into 4.85 BNB, which is a nice return. Keep in mind, you can pull your money out of this at any time. Once you click that you want your money back, it stops your rewards and everything. And it takes them a couple weeks to pull the money out of the markets that are supposedly doing this arbitrage and to get back to you. So just be aware of that. If you decide you're done, it'll cut off your rewards on that time frame, and it'll take 10 to 14 days for that money to hit back into your wallet. So take that into account. So I have no plans to do that yet. I'm just going to ride this out. So here's my thought process. At least 30 days, maybe more closer to 60 days. I'm just going to compound this thing every day, just roll the dice and see what happens. If I do that, I can get this thing up to 11.78 BNB, and then my 3% per day that I'm earning is actually pretty solid. So I may just run it for 60 days and then compound claim a 4 and 3 strategy or something like that. I'll decide that when I get there. I mean, you guys know how compound interest works. If I let this thing continue to go and really, really gamble this thing that it's going to last a long time, let's pretend that these guys do all the stuff that they say they're going to do, and they really do raise $500 million this year, and they are just a seriously legit outfit that can make this thing run for a long time. Let's just say close to 180 days. Then I could end up with 400 BNB, right? Of course, I'd have to pull that out as a percentage per day, or apply to get the funds back and get it locked, get it back in a couple weeks. Anyway, really early on in this play for me. If you guys are interested in it, go watch my previous video. But this is just another lottery ticket that I purchased. I might let this thing run for a while. I'm going to try to build it up, but what likely will happen is I'll feel like this 180 days a little bit too greedy. Maybe I'll recompound it for 60 or 90 or something, and then just decide it's time for me to claim. So give me 28, 29 BNB after 90 days, and then I can claim daily, or I can apply to get it all back. Anyway, that's my play there. Next up, Furio. Furio is still paying me out. I claimed earlier today, which actually bumped me down into the 1%. I thought about it, but I figured I'm so close to max payout anyway. I'm probably 30 days from max payout. I could be less if I let this thing run a little bit, but I don't think personally, since where I'm at, it really benefits me all that much to wait. I'd rather just claim, get some of those funds back. Some of it goes over to the Furio pool. So I've got about $700 sitting in the Furio pool right now. Now I had a 90-day time lock on mine, so it just locks it up for 90 days. If it hadn't done that, I might have just not compounded for 30 days. So this time lock was up and I had a max wallet, or not claimed for 30 days, I should say. And then I could have pulled this initial amount, but since I'm 90, there's no point. I'll be way past max payout. So it is what it is. So that's just my personal strategy. I think the devs are supposed to do an AMA today, which would help a lot because they've been silent a little bit. They've been putting out Medium articles and they've been talking to the admins, but it's been real limited in the chats. So a lot of us are just looking for an update. They're confident that they can get this thing running until 2024, which would be great because I think if we can get into a bull market, all this stuff will start to look a lot better. They just need to find a way to make it hang on. Furio 5, of course, will do that, and that thing can kind of survive on its own. And Furio Pool is akin to the reservoir, so it's really a platform that could survive on its own as well. So just something to be aware of. The trading bot, the Furio bot, has actually been performing pretty well. I think everything's back in the green. So even though we had a couple months there of turmoil, we've now made up those profits, and I'm hoping that the bot performance continues so we can pad that LMS. Anyway, Furio's still hanging in there, but it needs a little juice, and I hope today the devs give it the juice. Onto the Big Daddy Drip network. So Drip, as you guys know, it's not looking great today. I'll tell you what, it took a little bit of a hit. We were up at 61 cents. It went down to 55, back up to 57. I think we had some poor economic news come out from, or some news from the DOJ. But I am like 20 days, 19 days away from max payout. So I'm just going to continue compounding until I get max payout. That'll be a great day. I'm hoping that we get some good news by the end of the month. We're supposed to have the new Drip UI by about the end of the month. That's going to include the fee out on-ramp, some additional analytics and all that type of stuff. So I'm just praying they squeeze it in before the end of the month because I'll be excited about that. And hopefully it'll give the price a little boost. So when I claim and go to buy my pigs or my dogs, or I couple it with the BNB or the BUSD rather and put it in the farm, that I get a little bit of price for it. But we'll see what happens. When I was talking with Driptopian on the live stream yesterday, he was talking about, you know, his intention to put a lot of that over into the farms. And I kind of like that idea right now. Especially if we believe in the drip price, if we think the drip price is going to be $3, $4, $5 sooner down the road. Why would I technically want to sell that drip when I could couple it up? If the price ever, rises a lot, I can take them out of the farm, stop earning the dogs, but the drip will be more, so I could sell that off and buy more dogs or whatever. It gives me some more flexibility. Plus, it ties up the drip supply and helps the ecosystem. Last night on stream, I burned 10 drip. I'm just pretty much trying to burn 10 drip every couple days. So that doesn't really burn it, of course, sends it over to the tax vault and just helps stabilize the price for now. Stops the contract from minting. So I'll continue to do that and try to help out the ecosystem. And I'm due for a round of airdrops over to Team 2, so I will get that done today as well. Just remember that. On to Animal Farm. So let's go backwards. Drip Garden. First off, pig's price fell, so it's down to 88 bucks. So I bought a couple more yesterday just to take advantage of that. Dog's price is actually rising, which is really interesting to me because we're getting that tax rate reduced and reduced and reduced. So we're almost at a full reduction in the tax rate. It would seem to me that this would almost be peak selling because people would be trying to get out of those positions. Part of that tells me that the dog's price is going to stabilize here soon because most of the people are hanging on to them or actually have them in the farms or the pools or the dog pound or whatever actually earning yield. So those guys probably want to keep it there so they can continue earning. So I think that's great. But Drip Garden up to 151 million plants. So mostly just compounding. About 1 day a week I claim. A lot of times I just send that drip to the tax vault once I split the LPs. Farms are still rocking. I want to build up my blue chip position. So some of the money I make, maybe if I make some money in baked beans or dollar beans or whatever it is, I'm going to probably keep pumping my dogs position, but I want to get some more blue chips too. So I'll wait till we get a pullback because right now everything's kind of been rallying off this Bitcoin rally. I don't know if you've seen it, but we've rallied basically from 15 up to 21,000 in like a week or two. So that's a big increase. I think it's going to cool off. And when it does, I think it's a better time to buy some of these blue chips. So I'll probably wait for that. I have been DCAing into dogs mainly because it's cheaper. So I do have my linear pool now up to 100. And then my auto compounding pool is at 60. My intention now is to get this up to 100 as well. So every time I get a couple hundred extra bucks in my account, I've basically just been buying dogs. I did see this dip under 90 yesterday. So I bought some pigs. and I'm up to 133. So goal here, my next goal is to get this up to 150. So just overall my strategy, the long-term play for me that's going to be the most stable, that I'm most confident in all of DeFi, is the animal farm. I think the thing can operate on its own. It's fully self-sustainable. It pays out like clockwork. So I'm just going to build up my pigs and dogs and farm position, and I want to get it to a point to where I've got a full-time salary level income coming from the animal farm alone. So if I'm making, $100 a day in pigs, $50 a day in dogs, $50 a day on the farms, $50 in the pools, something like that. I want to continue to accumulate to where I'm getting a full-time income from this. If I don't need the income because everything's going fine on my end and I'm still doing my day-to-day business activities, then I will just reinvest that and try to increase that dollar amount. If I need the income, it's there for me. So that's my intention. During bear markets, I learned in the last couple bear markets I've been in to accumulate, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to focus on the main plays that are more secure in the DeFi space, and I'm going to use a discretionary portion of my income, it's probably like about 10%, to throw at some of these degen plays just to see if I can win on a handful of them and and make some extra income. I am fully prepared to lose over there. Of course, don't want to. And my goal, if I get into 5 projects, is hopefully win on 2 or 3 big enough that it offsets any losses I lost on the others. I net out ahead, and then I roll those profits back into the longer term plays like the animal farm. So that's my strategy. You don't have to follow me. It's your money. Do whatever you guys want. Happy investing.